Hi, Jincy. How are you?
Almaz, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good, good. So, if you're wondering who is this lovely ladies on this virtual studio with me today, it is someone who actually managed, hold your breath, change the maternity leave policy for women from 3 months to 6 months. Yes, women are supposed to be breastfeeding their kids for 6 months. So it's only fair that the government allows women who are working to be able to sit at home, take care, nurture, nourish their children for 6 months. And this has been possible because of this beautiful girl with this beautiful smile with me here. Her name is Jincy Varghese, and she is also someone whose story has been captured in this book called Changemakers, right? So, hi everyone. My name is Almaz. I'm a speaker, author, coach, change maker, and I became an author recently because of this lovely book and 11 beautiful stories that are featured in this book. There is a platform called change.org. If you're not aware of it, go look it up. This platform allows you to start a petition to bring about a change in any area on any surface of this planet by creating a collective citizens movement. And there are 11 women that are featured in this book that actually brought about changes in India and the world through their campaigns. We're all a part of a fellowship program called She Creates Change, where we're ambassadors and all of us believe in one purpose, and that is to bring about change. So today I have with me Jincy, who, like I said, is featured in this book. And the story is a very interesting one. And if you were to go to the title of the story, it actually comes from a question that we asked Jincy when we were trying to understand her story. And the question was, what is one word that defines your journey? And she said, it is perseverance. I just went on and on and on. So today I have with me Jincy, who's going to tell us what is her story of going on and on and on to make hashtag maternity bill happen. So Jincy, tell us where it all started. You know, I hate this. रुक जा, otherwise ये record हो जाएगा. Give me 1 minute. So Jincy, tell us, where did it all start? You were expecting your child, and that is when this thought came to your mind. So tell us a little bit about where did you plant the seed of some change needs to happen?
First of all, thanks and Almaz for inviting me and wanting wanting me to share my story with you and the rest of the world again via this platform. So, where did this change making begin? If I have to rewind uh, back to my childhood, I think I've always been someone who wanted to make this world a better place. And I don't know how this thought got deep into my mind, but that is something that I've been doing right from the time I was a child. And like in the book, my first petition started at the age of 5 when I got my whole school to pray for my brother who
Yeah.
was sick and admitted in the hospital. He was just 6 months old, and I was 5 years old back then. And the only thing I thought I could do for my brother was pray. And I asked myself, why pray alone when I can ask the entire school to pray for me?
Hmm.
As a 5 year old, I walked to the sister's office, the principal's sister's office, and I told her that my brother is unwell and he's in the hospital. Please pray for him. And she made an announcement over the intercom, and the whole school was praying. And like prayers usually work, he got
So your
discharged.
first petition was with God, literally.
Yeah, you can say, and it worked. And like that, I've done a lot of things, small things, which usually people tend to ignore and move on and think, hey, there's nothing I can do, or someone else will take care of it. Similarly, when I was expecting my first child, uh, I didn't think so much about the future. So I am a person who believes in living day to day. I don't plan so much like what am I going to do,
Hmm.
or I have enough stress for the day to even think of what's happening tomorrow.
Hmm.
So I was expecting, and I was going about doing my business, going to work every single day, not worrying or thinking so much as to who will take care of my child. because I come from a nuclear family. My parents were working and I was working. I didn't think so much about what and how I will manage after the baby is born, until one fine day when we're all part of WhatsApp groups, and on one particular WhatsApp group there was this news article that was shared, which read like this: that the maternity bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha, and soon it would, I mean, 6 months, the maternity leave would be 6 months from 6 months. That was what was there. And I was very happy because I was 4 or 5 months pregnant that time, and I was like, wow, I'm going to get 6 months leave. But little did I know, uh, it's not going to be so easy. In fact, I knew nothing. I had forgotten all the civics lessons that I had learned in school. Uh, I forgot that for a law to be passed, a bill needs to be passed in both the houses, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. The president needs to sign it. I had forgotten all of that. This particular bill was passed only in the Rajya Sabha, not in the Lok Sabha. So technically speaking, it was not a law. And I said, it's okay, no problem. We go to work every day. So politicians will go to parliament every day. And I was like, it's okay. Tomorrow they can sit and pass it in the Lok Sabha. And that's when I realized another thing which I had forgotten. This particular news came out in August, and it was on the last day of the monsoon session. And the next session was only going to be in November, or November, December for winter. And I was like, what should I do? What is there something I can do? And everyone are like, there's nothing you can do. You just need to wait. And I didn't want to wait without doing anything. So it's okay if I'm doing something and waiting, that waiting is different. But just doing nothing, just sitting with your hands folded and waiting for things to happen,
That's not Jincy at all.
that's not me. So I was thinking, what can I do? A person, a woman working in the IT sector, minority, no famous surname, nothing to back me up, no one to support me. What can I do? So that's when I remembered that I had signed a few petitions on change.org, and which became victories. And I was like, okay, let me try this. And that's how I drafted my first petition on change.org, way before She Creates Change and the whole hangama that happened after that. So I started this petition. I didn't know. I figured out the application by myself. It's not a big deal though, but I'm just saying that I did all of that by myself. And I thought, wow, I started a petition today and it's going to be a victory tomorrow. Little did I know how difficult this journey is going to be. And I started with a pseudonym because I was not sure if I should reveal my identity. So I started with the name Navea. That's a name that I really like, and it's heaven spelled backwards. So that's the name I started my petition with. And I started sharing it with others without telling them it's me. But people straight on the face used to tell, hey, why should I sign this petition so that women get 6 months vacation? So that's how my own friends called maternity leave as. Nevertheless, I did what I could. I used to keep sending updates, things, but none of it seemed to be working at the speed that I wanted it to work. And that's when I started emailing as well. And so before we get to the emailing part, let's cut to the winter session, which I was so desperately waiting for. And guess what happened in that winter session of 2016? Uh, just a day before my birthday in 2016, on 8th November, a big bomb was dropped, the demonetization bomb. I didn't even have money to buy cake for my birthday. Forget about it.
Yeah.
So the whole winter session was a complete washout. No bills were passed. There was a lot of hangama. And that's when I started getting desperate, because I was expecting to give birth in Feb. And the whole of November, December had passed with nothing happening at all. I was getting closer to my delivery date, and I was also having gestational diabetes. And it was just too much for me at that time. And I was really tired of waiting for so long and seeing nothing happening. Especially when this was the first time this law was spoken was in 2014, if I'm not wrong, immediately after BJP came into power. In that year, BJP came into power in 2014 May, and that same year December, that was the first time Maneka Gandhi spoke about this. And we are in December 2016, and yet nothing happened in spite of these people being absolute majority. So I was really irritated that I'm waiting for so long, nothing is happening. And then I started emailing.
Yeah, so
Uh,
we'll come to that, right? So now we're at a point where Jincy is like, kuch to karna padega. I can't just sit down and just wait. It's too much waiting and waiting with extra weight because I have a child that I'm carrying and it's not happening. So there's this famous story that we start this, the chapter with, which is her story of emailing Menaka Gandhi. And there is also, if you go to page number 59, you will see a revert that actually she got from the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Yes, yes, yes. If you actually take steps, the Ministry of Women and Child Development can actually write back to you, right? Because if you're determined, you want to bring about a change and you want to do something that can happen. And I think that was a moment where you were completely blown away. Like, what? I've actually got an email from someone in Menaka Gandhi's office, and she's personally writing to me. So there was a story that started there, and we don't want to spill the beans. But I want to ask you, Jincy, like you said, no famous surname, okay, no background in activism whatsoever, and you are actually communicating with the Ministry of Women and Child Development and Menka Gandhi. How's that journey been for you, yeah, with that child that you're carrying and trying to fight this battle and making this change happen? Tell us what was going on inside of you, and the book captures a lot of it. Just spill a few beans.
So it wasn't an easy journey, to be honest. It was a very stressful time for me because I had so much anger. Every day I used to, already my health wasn't that great. There was my
Yeah.
health I needed to take care of. I worked till the day I gave birth. So I was not on any break. And seeing my petition move so slowly was really very disappointing. And more than disappointing, it was very, I had a lot of anger in me, and I was very worried that I would transfer all of this anger into my unborn child.
Hmm.
I used to have nightmares, uh, the dreams that I used to see when I was sleeping were just horrible. uh, and I was really scared if all of this would affect my child. And in fact, if my own family were like, you're not the only person who's pregnant, you're not the first person who's pregnant, and the first person who's getting 3 months of leave. Why are you so hell-bent? Why are you acting like you're so crazy about this thing? But just let go. So it was not easy because I really didn't have any support. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night, refreshing the URL to see if it's got any signature. And I used to see the signature count increasing by just one or two. And it was very disappointing, very depressing, and more because all of this was before I was part of the She Creates Change community. So
Hmm.
at least, if had I been part of the She Creates Change community, had I known someone from Change, I would have had some support. But this was like I was just doing so much of it by myself. So it was not really a very good place to be in.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm glad I did whatever I could in my hand. Eventually I did get connected to uh, folks from change.org. They reached out to me when they saw my petition, but until then it was a very lonely journey. It was a journey where I had to support myself. I had to just keep holding on and do what I could do. It was challenging, and
Yeah,
but
so I'm going to read something from page number 73 that you've said, quote unquote, for every one person who supports you, there will be 10 others who put you down, and sometimes for no fault of yours. I would say, don't let them suck away your energy. Keep going. Never give up. It will all be worth it one day. So when I kind of read this, it inspires me so much. And I'm going to request whoever's watching this to go read the story, because this is what it is about, right? You just kept going on. Like you said, you had people who said, oh, it's a vacation, or you had some people who said, you're not the only one who's pregnant, why are you doing this, right? So tell us about that moment when it was actually a victory, when you realize, oh my god, this bill is passed, and you've been able to actually bring about the change. How was that feeling, and what did it mean to you?
So the so the first sigh of relief, or okay, I'm doing something that's a good thing, was when Maneka Gandhi replied to my email to me one on one, where she acknowledged that it's been it's been in the talks for a long time but not really into action. So she was like, I will try to do it in the next session. So that gave me some hope, because honestly, while I was fighting all of this, a part of me was also scared, thinking, what if people come after my life? Because it's, I was just a common person, with
Right.
no background. So I had that fear. I won't say I was like all out bold, like, Rani ki, Jhansi ki Rani, all out there to fight. So that fear was there. Especially when you don't have any supporters, everyone is just telling you stop, stop, stop. So that the little bit of that fear was there, but that was kind of, it gave me a huge relief when she replied
Mm.
to me, and she acknowledged the fact that, she didn't tell me, hey, what are you doing, we will do our work, you just carry on about your business. She didn't do that. She acknowledged the problem, and she said she will do whatever it takes to you know solve that problem. So that was a huge sigh of relief. And then, so that was like a first mini victory, like, at least I got someone to respond to my
Right.
email.
And not just someone, you're talking Menaka Gandhi here.
Yes. And then, of course, the other victory was when Maneka Gandhi actually responded to my petition. So if you go on my petition, you will see her actual response. But the real victory for me was when, so laws in India are rarely added with a retrospective aspect.
Yeah.
Even
What
when
is
this
a
law,
retrospective aspect? Just tell
yeah,
our
yeah,
viewers that.
I'll tell you that. But before that, so this law was passed. Any law in India, like I said, it needs to be signed, both in, tabled both in the lower house, the Lok Sabha, and the upper house, which is the
Right.
Rajya Sabha. After that, the president signs, and the day the president signs, from the next day is when all laws are applicable in India.
Mm.
So I remember Pranab Mukherjee. I had written a lot to him as well. I tried buttering him because he was just leaving. That was his last term, and he was leaving. So I reached out to him as well. I didn't get any response. That's a different story. But he signed this law on this bill on 28th March 2017, and it was applicable from 1st April 2017 onwards. So all laws are passed like that. After the president signs,
Mm.
the same day or the next day is when the
Mm. Mm.
law comes into effect. So the retrospective aspect is when they revisit the law and backdate it.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So that rarely happens. I mean, I am honestly not, I don't keep up with the laws of India, and I don't have any, much of an information, but I don't think it's easy for it for laws to have a retrospective aspect. I mean, laws getting passed in India is a big thing. Then,
Yeah.
going back
Yeah.
and adding a
Absolutely.
retrospective aspect is something, very difficult. So even after this law was passed, I and other mothers, we kept campaigning, saying, hey, add a retrospective aspect, please make it applicable from January, December, whatever, how much ever you can backdate it, please backdate, because this has been pending from long. So that was another thing that I was still working and campaigning and emailing and tweeting about. A big miracle happened on 17th April, almost exactly 5 years ago. A retrospective aspect was added, which meant this law was applicable from 1st January 2017.
Wow.
And and I had given birth on 16th Feb 2017. So I was covered, and I
You were
was
covered.
so happy, Almaz. I mean, I can't dance. I am pathetic at dancing, but I was dancing that day like crazy. And my brother was like, what happened to you? And I'm like, you won't believe they added a retrospective aspect. So which means even I was,
Right.
able to uh, get the benefits out of this law. So
Yeah.
that was like, that was another, that day I was really, really happy. And along the way, I've had moments of where I really felt the impact of what I did, when random people just came and when they realized that I campaigned for this. They're like, all the women in my office are so happy. I told them about you. You are the reason they are getting maternity leave, and they are so grateful and thankful to you. So
Mm.
all these moments. In fact, even recently, a friend gave birth, and she mentioned on the group that I'll be getting 6 months maternity leave, and when she just a simple
Mm.
message and she
Mm.
said, I was like, oh my god, the thing that I did. People are still taking benefits out of it, and I
Yeah,
really felt.
because the cause is such, right? You actually brought relief to so many people. In fact, I remember when we were at the launch, and there was a lot of media and press, and Javed Akhtar Saab and RJ Rohini, and I remember they actually said, "Inka interview low." She is the real celebrity here because you've actually made a difference to people's lives. So I think the biggest moment also for you here is that you were not the same Jincy. There was a Jincy who knew she wanted to do something. She didn't want to sit back waiting. But now there was an empowered Jincy who also had the tools to bring about a change, right? And there is something so beautiful your story starts with, which is your quote, where you say that if I can, you can too. Anyone can. You are not insignificant. So tell us more about the book, and stories in this book are the women that are featured in this book actually believe in this, right? If I can, you can too. Nobody is insignificant. So tell us more about the book, and your journey of being covered in the book, and the women that are covered in the story, and what can a reader take back from this book. So if I were to pick up this book off the shelf, why should I pick it up? What can I take back from it?
So, when we talk about creating change and making the world a better place, they almost sound like something that's impossible to do or too far fetched.
Yeah, and too big and fancy, and only for the books and the
Yes.
papers, and
Yeah.
for someone out there to do.
Yeah. Yes. And you think it will come to you, and then you will do. Like, a lot of people tell me, that, hey, I want to start doing something. How can I do? So my first response to them is, if you really want to do something, you would have done something by now. You don't
Right.
wait for that particular moment or that opportunity. It's just, it's inborn to you. That's something that comes naturally to you. You don't really have to wait. Like, for example, my case, I had a problem, and it was a very personal problem for me. I mean, I was pregnant and I was working. I had only 3 months maternity leave, and I needed more time to spend with my baby, to take care of my baby, and that's why I did uh, I fought for this petition. Similarly, if you read the stories in the book, they are all, like, if I have to talk about Priyanka's story of single mothers getting a passport for their child, a basic problem. Even I'm sure there must have been so many women
Yeah,
before her who must have thought, every time they fill up a form, and if they were single mothers, they would have thought, why do I need to fill the father's
absolutely.
name when he is not part of my life, not part of my baby's life? But there was only one Priyanka who thought it was worth it.
Mm.
Similarly, take about Cassie, Batti Jalao campaign. I mean, why the hell did she want to think of fighting for Adivasis in the RA forest who don't have electricity, when she was living somewhere else and having electricity and everything there for her? We just thought, I think we all did, like they say, we just took the next step that we could. We didn't like
Mm.
plan out the whole thing. I'm sure all 11 of us who are in the book didn't really plan out the whole story. We all wanted to do something about issues that affected us deeply. And
Mm.
now, as I'm talking, I remembered Masuma as well. This the female genital mutilation was something that affected her and someone around
Yeah,
her. She just thought, okay, what is one thing that I can do?
yeah.
Similarly, so many others. So it was just, we didn't go out and uh, do dramatic stuff for, I don't know how to say this, but we just did what we could do. Like, for
Yeah.
me, as a pregnant person with no background in law, who's even forgotten her civics, the least I could do was just get on the internet, go to change.org and start a petition. So that was the
Yeah.
least I could do given whatever I had that time. I did
Right.
that. I really didn't anticipate all of this is going to happen.
Right.
Uh, I mean, if I knew, I had no clue. It was just, I could do this, I'm doing it. So it's that's what is covered in the book. uh, in fact, all the stories now, as you know, as we are talking, all Neha's story is coming to my mind about defense. You know, we all talk, we all read about all the abuse, the sexual abuse that both our children are, subjected to, both boys and girls, and we all think, hey, we should send our children to defense or safety classes. But have you ever had a discussion about having such a thing in your school, in your locality? No, but Neha did that. So all of
Right.
these are issues that we really believe in, and I really don't think there was someone dictating to us, hey, chalo, this is what you have to do, and then we will do this. 10 days later, we'll do that. We are None of us created a 5 year plan. None of us,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. A lot of interviewers, when you go on interview, they ask you, what do you do? Where do you see yourself in like the next 5 years and 10 years
Mhm.
and all of that? I don't think any of us did this.
No.
We just did what we could do, and it was just amazing because person like me, no background. In fact, on the book launch, you reminded me, Javed Akhtar ji thought I was a lawyer, you know, but I have no clue about laws. I mean, I just did what I could.
Right.
And I think that's the common thing that binds all of us together who are covered in this book. We
Right.
just saw
So
something and we wanted to change it.
absolutely. Absolutely. So if I were to pick up this book, okay, a normal person were to pick up this book, what are a couple of things they can take away?
So first of all, they don't have to be spectators. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have to just keep talking about problems, but they can take at least small steps in solving them.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this is not like a book that will solve all your problems or tell you uh, about how to make this world a better place, but it will tell us how each of us made the world around them a better place. And similarly, identify areas for yourself, and I'm really sure you will find something. All the stories are inspiring, and you will find something that you can take away and create your own kind of change. So you don't have to become like us.
You
You can
create your own kind of change.
yes,
I
yes.
love that. And if you have faith, a lot can change, right? So Jincy's story is anchored in faith, and that is why we say it's a combination of faith and perseverance that actually drove a petition to the finish line. Thank you, Jincy, for joining us. I'm sure your story is inspiring a lot of people out there. In fact, when people ask me what kind of stories have you covered in the book, and if I talk about your story, you're like, really? People actually say, really, there's a girl who actually made this happen, it was because of her. I said, yeah, please go read the book. So if you're excited to know what her journey has been like, please grab a copy of the book and thank Jincy every time you see someone enjoying 6 months of not vacation, but the time to heal herself and nourish a baby, which is much required. The 6 month maternity leave has been possible because of hashtag maternity bail, which is Jincy's campaign, who's also featured in the book Changemakers. Thank you, Jincy, for joining us. And may you go out and create many more your kind of changes with faith and perseverance.
Thank you, Almaz.
Thank you.